Hi, my name is Olivia and I'm a young representative for Young Epilepsy, and today I will be speaking with British actor Sebastian De Souza to find out about his journey to becoming an actor.
Hi, Olivia.
Hi.
How are you? All right?
Good. Tell us about your career so far and how about your highlights.
Well, that's a very big question, and thank you for asking. I think that I know it's annoying to say it because you probably want specific answers, but it's all been a highlight looking back, and I feel extremely lucky to have been able to do what I have wanted to do for work since I was 16. So I suppose that has been a highlight in itself, and I have greatly enjoyed and feel very, very lucky to have worked with lots of very, very, very kind and talented people for 10 years. I'm getting old. I think it's like 10, 11 years now. I mean, honestly. But yeah, so it's all been a highlight.
How do you deal with your demanding job and with the lack of structure that it may entail?
Well, I suppose I'm better equipped to answer the second part of that question, because I actually, when I'm acting, I suppose I don't really find it demanding because I enjoy it so much. But the lack of structure is something that I have had to learn how to make allowances for and deal with. And I suppose how do I deal with that? I think I have to try, unsuccessfully lots of the time, but I have to try very hard to be disciplined. And I spend a lot of my time when I'm not acting writing, and that helps to add a structure to my days and my life that otherwise wouldn't really be there. So yeah, so the structure thing is really, really difficult. And actually I miss school for that reason. You know, I miss that kind of you've got to be here at this time, with these clothes on. But actually, you know, having said that, Olivia, when actors will tell you and they'll pretend that it's extremely demanding to do what they do and it's all really hard, they're lying. It's fabulous. They tell you what to say, where to stand. They give you your lunch. Sometimes they even drive you to work. I mean, it's ridiculous, the idea that this is demanding. No, it's a walk in the park, and I'm very grateful to do it.
So how do you deal with the unexpected?
I think I don't immediately deal with things very well, but I'm very lucky that I suppose it sort of goes back to my job, but it's also I'm very lucky to have a very, very supportive group of friends and family who, if it's a good thing or a bad thing, it doesn't really matter. If things are unexpected and a shock to the system, I can, after the initial shock, I can always seek counsel from friends and from family. And they're always willing and able to give me advice and support in that sense. So I feel very lucky that I have a support network. How do you deal with the unexpected?
Well, I've got autism, so it can be a bit challenging sometimes.
Can it? Yeah.
Sometimes I'm fine. I think I've sort of learned, and I sort of have a rough idea when things are going to be unexpected, but sometimes it can be like, wow.
Well, it's my mum's an educational psychologist, so I've grown up knowing a little bit about autism, but not, I'm afraid, as much as I would like. And have you been able to have you developed coping mechanisms and things like that over time?
Well, I just like I think where I've got used to it over time, like in the past couple of years I have struggled, but this year I did level 2 dance, and I think I've sort of learnt to manage things because when you have shows and that, sometimes people don't turn up and you've got to adjust things because you've got to redo someone's lines because they're not there. Sometimes it can be hard, but I think I've sort of learned, but I think I've just got to tell myself that not everything's going to be right, and
Right.
it's going to be.
That's that's incredibly wise of you to say, and I think you know, as someone with autism, but also as someone without it, you know, it's
Yeah.
very important to learn and to recognise that the only thing we can control, I think, and actually, as I say, I'm still learning this or trying, is our own reaction to things.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there is your answer.
Yeah. Normal People highlights about mental health. Can you tell us more about this aspect?
Yes, I suppose so. I mean, as you know, I don't know if you've probably seen the show. I seem to be that the whole world has seen the show. I'm a very little, tiny part of it. And very happy to be, and incredibly proud and grateful to have been involved at all. But to speak on the way it deals with mental health, well, I suppose really what I think is, and what's lovely about Normal People, is that it seems to deal with being a human being and being a normal person, and therefore, to me at least, reading the book and watching the telly show, it kind of sort of normalizes, in a good way, or reduces the taboo that is attached to mental health, the stigma problem of mental
Yeah.
health. And I think the more, you know, long may it continue that people are writing books and making television programs. I love fantasy and sci-fi, and in fact, I have a book, a sci-fi novel coming out next year that I wrote. But I think what's more important almost is books like Normal People and TV shows like Normal People. They show us what our life is, and that's very reassuring to have on television.
How do you look after yourself, both mentally and physically?
I try to run. Running helps me. You run, Evan? No?
No, I have EDS, and sometimes I need to use a wheelchair, so not running.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, I'm very lucky to be able to run around in this you know, this really pretty countryside. And so, but I find it's very, I lack the motivation to get up and go. But when I do go, I find that I just getting outside, running, whatever, just being outside, listening, looking. I tell you what I do, and I've learned to do, and I'm really strict with myself about this. I have allocated time to use my telephone. And I spend quite a lot of time looking at a screen anyway, you know, writing or whatever, and we just all do. But I try really hard to like only look at my phone when I have to. And it's certainly not first thing in the morning. You know, we like wake up and it's like, oh, what's on Instagram, you know, and we go to bed and it's Instagram and it's ridiculous. I mean, honestly, is that like you?
yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's crazy. What are we doing to ourselves? So I try really hard to not.
Yeah. And what advice would you have for young people trying to reach their career?
Well, I think depending on what you want to do, basically the only piece of advice that I think is ever worth giving, which now unfortunately sounds like a cliche, but it's so not, is never, ever, ever give up.
Yeah.
Never. Um, no matter who you are, where you are, what your circumstances are, whether you're suffering from a condition that people might have thought precludes you from a certain career path or a certain life, understand very clearly that, and George Lucas, who created Star Wars, said this, that whatever your focus is will be your reality. And so whatever you focus on, whatever you focus all of your heart and your soul and your attention on, if you work hard enough, it will become your reality, whoever
Yeah.
and wherever you are. And it's so important because although I'm not really a believer necessarily in fate or anything like that, I don't know really how I feel about all that. I really am a believer in in kind of self-belief, and how whatever you put out into the world, eventually and it may take 20, 50, 100 years, but it will come back to you. And it's that I think we should focus on,
Yeah.
because, you know, and also another thing, sorry to bang on like this, but another thing I think, Olivia, is that if you can think of anything else that you'd rather do, then it's probably not the career for you, because, or a performer of some description, because it's
Yeah.
really tough, as you know, it's tough. It's
Yeah.
for very many different reasons. But if you do only want that, and that's the only thing you desire, then go for it, hell for leather, and good luck to you, and you will succeed, because actually you're just doing it for yourself. You're not doing it to be famous. You're not doing it to be successful. You're doing it because it enriches your soul. And that's the point in living, right?
Yeah.
To enrich your soul.
You have to like push through the barrels before you can like reach there. It's not just going to happen overnight.
You're absolutely right.
This makes perfect. You can't just get
You're
everything
absolutely right. Yeah, and you clearly are an individual who really believes that, and you just keep on going, and you'll be a star for it, Olivia. I'll tell you right now. I tell you what, for giving you this interview, can I interview you in 10 years when you're a star, and we'll do this the other way around, all right?
Yeah.
Well, did you want to ask anything else?
No, I think that's all I've got.
Okay. Well,
It's been
it was such a pleasure. Oh, it was so lovely to meet you, Olivia, and thank you. And I wish you all the best with the platform as well. And I will be watching closely. Thank you, Olivia. See you later. Bye.